Gas stations, typically beacons of convenience and safety, can sometimes hide dark and sinister secrets within their walls. Join us as we delve into the chilling world of true gas station horror stories, tales of the unexplained, the supernatural, and the downright terrifying. From mysterious disappearances to haunted restrooms, these encounters will make you think twice before stopping for gas in the dead of night. So buckle up and prepare for a journey into the eerie and unknown, where even the most mundane pit stop can turn into a nightmare. Today we will talk about 4 creepy true gas station horror stories. So before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. 1. The Vanishing Attendant. It was a dark and stormy night when Sarah found herself in need of gas on a deserted stretch of highway. As she pulled into the dimly lit gas station, an eerie feeling washed over her. Ignoring her instincts, she stepped out of her car and approached the pump, but no attendant was in sight. As Sarah filled her tank, she heard strange noises echoing from the darkness. A soft whispering like voices carried on the wind. Uneasy, she hurried back to her car and locked the doors, casting nervous glances around the deserted station. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the gas station into darkness. Panic rising in her chest. Sarah fumbled for her phone, but before she could dial for help, she heard a chilling voice whispering in her ear. "You shouldn't have stopped here, Sarah." Terrified, Sarah looked around, but there was no one in sight. With trembling hands, she managed to start her car and sped away from the gas station, vowing never to return to that cursed place again. 2. The Haunted Restroom. Jake pulled into a rundown gas station in the middle of nowhere, desperate for a bathroom break. As he stepped into the dimly lit restroom, a chill ran down his spine. He could feel eyes watching him from the shadows. Ignoring his unease, Jake hurried to do his business, but as he washed his hands, he heard strange noises coming from one of the stalls. A soft whimpering, like someone in pain. Tentatively, he pushed open the door, but the stall was empty. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the restroom into darkness. Panic rising in his chest, Jake groped for the door, but it wouldn't budge. Desperate, he pounded on the walls, screaming for help, but his cries fell on deaf ears. Just when he thought he was trapped forever, the lights flickered back on, revealing a chilling sight. The walls of the restroom were covered in eerie writing, scrawled in blood-red ink, with messages of warning and despair. Shaken to his core, Jake stumbled out of the restroom and back to his car, vowing never to stop at that gas station again. But as he drove away, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had stumbled upon something far more sinister than he could have ever imagined. A presence that lingered in the darkness, waiting to strike again. Suddenly, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the restroom into darkness. Panic rising in his chest, Jake groped for the door, but it wouldn't budge. Desperate, he pounded on the walls, screaming for help, but his cries fell on deaf ears. Just when he thought he was trapped forever, the lights flickered back on, and the door swung open on its own. Shaken to his core, Jake stumbled out of the restroom and back to his car, vowing never to stop at that gas station again. 3. The Phantom Hitchhiker. As Mike drove down the deserted highway, his gas gauge hovered dangerously close to empty. Spotting a rundown gas station up ahead, he pulled in and stepped out of his car, scanning the area for signs of life. To his surprise, he spotted a lone figure standing by the side of the road. A young woman with long, dark hair and a haunted look in her eyes. Sensing her desperation, Mike offered her a ride. But as she climbed into the car, he felt a chill run down his spine. As they drove on, the woman grew increasingly agitated, her eyes darting nervously around the car. Suddenly, she let out a blood-curdling scream, causing Mike to swerve the car to the side of the road in alarm. With trembling hands, Mike turned to face the woman, but to his horror, she had vanished into thin air, leaving behind nothing but an icy chill that permeated the air. Shocked and bewildered, Mike searched the surrounding area, but there was no sign of the mysterious hitchhiker. Unable to shake the feeling of unease that had settled over him, Mike continued on his journey, the memory of the Phantom Hitchhiker haunting him every step of the way. And as he drove into the night, he couldn't help but wonder what other secrets lay hidden in the darkness, waiting to be revealed. As they drove on, the woman grew increasingly agitated, her eyes darting nervously around the car. Suddenly, she let out a blood-curdling scream and vanished into thin air, leaving behind nothing but a lingering sense of dread. Shaken to his core, Mike sped away from the gas station, vowing never to return to that cursed place again. For the mysterious disappearance. Suddenly, he heard a strange noise coming from the back room, a soft scratching, like claws against wood. Heart-pounding, Tom approached the door, but before he could open it, he heard a blood-curdling scream and the sound of something dragging across the floor. Tom stopped at a remote gas station in the dead of night, the only source of light in the darkness. As he filled his tank, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, a sensation that grew stronger with each passing moment. Ignoring his unease, Tom headed inside to pay, but the cashier was nowhere to be found. Puzzled, he wandered through the deserted aisles, his footsteps echoing in the empty store. The eerie silence was broken only by the occasional creak of the old floorboards beneath his feet. As he reached the back of the store, Tom noticed a flickering light coming from the supply room. Curiosity piqued, he approached cautiously, his hand trembling as he reached for the doorknob. With a creak, the door swung open, revealing a scene straight out of a nightmare. The room was bathed in an eerie blue light, casting long shadows against the walls. In the center of the room stood a figure clad in tattered clothes, its back turned to Tom. Its movements were jerky and unnatural, as if controlled by some unseen force. Heart-pounding, Tom took a step back, his mind racing with fear and confusion. Before he could react, the figure turned to face him, its eyes empty sockets staring into his soul. With a guttural groan, it lunged forward, its outstretched hands reaching for him with unnatural speed. In a blind panic, Tom turned and fled from the gas station, his breath coming in ragged gasps as he sprinted back to his car. As he peeled away from the deserted station, he couldn't shake the feeling of dread that clung to him like a shadow. Haunted by the memory of what he had seen, Tom vowed never to return to that cursed place again. But as he drove into the night, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had stumbled upon something far more sinister than he could have ever imagined. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment and click the button to subscribe.